Hello everybody, welcome back to Citizen Sleeper. We are just overlooking the greenway there through the wastes, and we've got a bunch of stuff to do. So first we're going to talk to Peak. It's 2 days before we set off on our mission and I'm not fully prepared, so not sure how that would go anyway. Here's Eshe. As you walk into the Climbing Briar's cavernous bay, now filled with crates and containers, Eshe is waiting for you. In front of her, sliced open, with its insides scattered across the top of a heavy-duty crate, is an object you recognise. Helene's drone. You freeze. Come in, quick. Peak nudges you into the bay, looking behind you before sealing the entryway. We have to start being careful. You move closer to the container, your eyes on the drone splayed out in pieces, some parts of it hooked up to a slate that Peak picks up and begins tapping away at. Eshe looks up from the dissection. We caught it buzzing around nearby, heading for the ship. She leans over and taps the HA sigil on one of the removed pieces of plating. It's a Havenage spy. We think we got it... I forgot his accent. Forgot their accent then. We think we got it before it said data back, but we can't be sure. Peak looks at you nervously. Eshe cuts in. Have you noticed anyone watching you? Any drones like this? Anyone following you up the Briar? I'm going to say I've seen this drone. Eshe frowns. Following you? I met its owner. Eshe pauses for a while, Peak looking between the two of you. Explain, Sleeper, Eshe says quietly. I can tell them about Helene, or I can lie about meeting Helene. I'm going to tell them. I don't want to be just lying. So, and whatever their issue is, whatever their deal is, it's their problem, not mine. You explain that you met with Helene at the Cordon, and you tell Eshe and Peak about what she told you. That the Havenage Council are debating lifting the quarantine, but they're blocked by the hardliners. You speak faster and faster, but before you can finish, Eshe walks away in anger, and then comes back again, her eyes burning. What is this, Sleeper? Have you understood nothing from what we've told you? She paces in front of you. Havenage are not your friends. They're administrators, which means they are interested only in their own power, their own survival, their own causes. They divide people as easily as sorting livestock. The greater good of their work demands it. The wider project of the station, the colony, the nation. Her eyes are as wide as she speaks, her anger barely contained. I'm going to put I didn't have a choice. Peak cuts in. Listen to them, please, Eshe. They're with us. Peak glances between you two. What was the Sleeper supposed to do? They were ambushed by this Helene. I'm going to stay silent, I think. Let me tell you something, Sleeper, Eshe says, her rage hardening into pain. When people become administrators, they give up something, some part of being human. Being an equal, among others, goes away. They start talking about the greater good, the systems, the ways in which their hands are tied or their process compromised. I get the feeling these guys got betrayed by the administrators on their habitat. My mother was the administrator of Hawthorne, and I've seen what it did to her. That noble, higher calling, it is toxic. People should never have the chance to decide the fate of others, and those that do so at the cost of their humanity. Peak tries to cut in, but Eshe holds up a hand. Don't start, Peak. Don't ask me to be reasonable or calm down. Thousands of people are desperate out there. Being reasonable will only prolong their suffering. You're right. I mean, I kind of agree with her. They should have just given food to these people regardless. Eshe doesn't move for a moment, then she lifts a hand to rub her temples. She goes to say something, then stops. She walks back into the bay and starts checking the straps on the crates. I will make the run. She yanks on a strap. No more distractions. Sleeper. Peak looks torn. You have to understand, this is personal for Eshe. Helene warned me. I know. I still feel like these administrators could have at least given the refugees food, even if they didn't let them on the station, so... Peak looks away, then at Eshe. I don't know, Sleeper. I just don't know what to do. You glance around the bay of the Briar, the walls seeming closer every second. This whole thing is closing in on you, and the question is, where do you want to be when it all collapses? You look at Peak. And what do you think, Sleeper? Peak rubs their forehead. Should we do this thing or not? I don't know. This is their thing. They approached me. They want to get food to the refugees. I feel like, yeah, we should get food to the refugees. Yeah, that's the thing. Peak nods. Okay then. They squeeze your shoulder. Onward. They slip away to help Eshe, leaving you alone to replay the conversation in your head. A certain kind of grim determination settling in the room. Last chance to prepare. Okay, we've got 2 cycles. We've got a full complement of dice and a reroll. So we've got our thrusters. We're halfway to blind spot, but we Havenage suspicion is going up. So we've got +2 on this, so let's use the 4. If I can at least get 2 of these, I think we're kind of in for a good shot. And then I guess the following day we'll try and get the next one, but I just actually don't think we'll have time. Okay, so we've done that one. Peak is waiting for you when you slip out of the operations centre, nervously poking at their small slate. Sleeper, they hiss. I followed what you were doing on the network. Incredible work. How do you do that? It comes naturally. Peak smiles. I can't tell if that's modesty or just the truth. Interfacing skills like that, it's almost worth being... They stop themselves. Sorry, I didn't mean... Nothing is worth being a sleeper. I don't know, being a sleeper seems pretty cool. Don't worry about it. Peak nods. Sorry. You and Peak quietly slip into the main walkway and work your way back to the public areas of the cordon. Havenage has had to quickly respond to the flotilla's arrival, and that means a lot of contractors and spacers walking through these corridors. You blend in easily enough. I haven't really met a sleeper before, Peak begins. As you might have guessed, they smile nervously. Hawthorne is an XPR service outpost, and since the collapse no one came for refueling or repairs anymore, so my generation has never met anyone outside the company. We heard about sleepers. They nod in your direction, from the data packets that come through from XPR every once in a while. They usually contain news along with the corporate propaganda, but the reports were light on details. S and ARP have kept the sleeper program pretty quiet anyway, and I think XPR are only interested in telling their employees about it because it made living in our company town look like a good life in comparison to being a piece of corporate property. They freeze. Sorry, again, I don't mean... They look down. I'm just not sure how to talk about this stuff. I'm going to say it's okay. Peak smiles. I'll shut up about it now. If I was a sleeper, I'd be really keen to talk about it. You walk on a little further, the walkway becoming busier. You both relax a little more and go with the flow of people. I just want to say, I think I understand. They begin again. Clearly this has been on their mind. I understand the need to escape, to get free of it all. They laugh at themselves. The structures, the systems, the company horizons in a company town. They stare ahead. The small places, small corridors, small people. They look away. The slow death it brings. That's it. They turn to you. I get why you signed up to be a sleeper, and why you escaped from that too. I'm going to nod, let him carry on. You try to form words, but you can't. There's altogether too much running through your head. But you look at Peak, and they look at you, and that seems okay for now. You walk in silence again, each of you in their own thoughts, but moving together through space nonetheless. After a while you come to the entrance to the cordon, where handfuls of workers and crews filter in and out through 2 huge loading bay doors. Peak stops. Okay, they pause. I'm heading back to the Briar. Once again, incredible work on the sensors. That blind spot you created, that should give us a real advantage. See you soon. They head off, disappearing into the crowd, almost immediately, outrunning their own nervousness. I feel like what Helene said, I think we're going to get caught regardless of what we do, but I still want to try and get all 3 of those counters filled up, and I think I can maybe just about do it with 7 dice, which is what I'll have. I'll have 5 tomorrow, and yeah. Alright, so let's take a look at the crew canteen. Convince... crew. Let's re-roll these. Alright, good. These are some nice high ones, so... Excellent. It'd be good if I could spend money to bribe them, that would be, or something like that. Okay. Now, it looks like I'm going to end up with only 4 dice, and I don't want that, so I've got scrap. I'm going to try and hopefully go down and see if I can buy some scrap. Maybe there's a ship in. I'm not sure there is though. No, there isn't. Oh, looks like I have to use a stabilizer, which is not ideal. I don't want to really be chugging through the stabilizers, but I'm going to have to, unless I just let one fail, which is still a chance of me doing even if I use the stabilizer. But I'm gonna... oh, hang on, wait, have I got one more day or two? No, I've got one more day. Yeah, I'm going to use it, and we'll try and grow some mushrooms once this is kind of coming to its end. Alright, let's end cycle. And then, yeah, so this will be the final day, because when the timer clicks up, that'll be time to do it. So it's this or never. I've got 4 to get. Whew. This is tense. Now, do I take a risk here and use this, or do I try and re-roll for something higher? Do you know what? I think, oh, dodgy as it is, I might re-roll, try and get something higher, because I need 2. And although this is... let's just do it. Yes! Get in! That's awesome. Okay, so whatever happens now, we've done everything we can, which means that it's just kind of built into the story. Ah, nice. You meet Peak leaning in a corner of the canteen in their typically unassuming way. It occurs to you as you approach that Peak must have had some practice at staying invisible. All good? They look up from their slate. That crew you were talking to. They nod to the group leaving the canteen. Will they join us? That's what they say. You aren't sure? Peak looks back at them as they disappear into the corridors of the installation. Looks like we'll have to take them at their word either way. Peak beckons for you to follow as they peel off the wall and head out into the walkway overlooking the cordon. Glad you were here to talk them into it. I never had much of a way with people. Peak smiles and looks away quickly as you walk. Why's that? Well, Peak pauses. Maybe it'd be more accurate to say people never had much of a way with me. They squint, irritated by their own odd turn of phrase. What I mean is, people have caused me a lot of trouble. I've had people hate me without knowing a thing about me. They tuck their hair behind an ear. I'm sure you know the feeling. I'm going to say I do. Peak glances at you. Sorry to hear that. It marks you, am I right? It does. Peak nods. You both walk in silence for a moment. Not an awkward silence, but one of solidarity. Peak leads you around a corner, heading back to the main cordon accessway. I appreciate you coming in and helping us out on this, Sleeper. I'm talking to the crew and, well, you know. Maybe after this insane plan is done we can talk properly. They keep looking ahead and you realise they're nervous. I'd like that. Peak smiles, looking down at their feet. That's settled then, they say to the floor. I better report the news to Eshe. We have ourselves a tug escort. Peak stops at an intersection. See you soon, Sleeper, and please, take care. And with that they drift away, their head down, their gait changing as they do, their practised invisibility shrouding them like a cape. Cracking. So we've done all of those. Let's have a look at the progress bar. We've got Peak's plan, Briar's hold, all the scrap. I think what I'll use this dice on then is growing some mushrooms, because I'm really going to need some more stabilizer, I think. So see what we get. I didn't get any club caps. That's annoying. Never mind. So let's go cook ourselves some dinner. Cook the Matsutake caps. And then we'll go and we'll sleep in the base camp. Got everything I need. I'm loving having the ship bind there in reserve. Okay, end cycle. I really want to pick up a bit of scrap so that I can keep my condition topped up without having to use a stabilizer. Okay, I've got a pretty low set of dice rolls there, which is a shame. Here we go. She's gone, Sleeper. Peak is breathless and shaking. She started the run without us. Shit. Let's go. If we head up to the cordon now. Peak starts back up the corridor. They turn back. She has to make it, Sleeper. She has to. A shiver runs down your spine. Eshe, I hope you know what you're doing. So she's gone to do it without us, but I'm the one who talked the tugboat people into helping us, so maybe they're just doing it based on the ship leaving? Right. Here we go. The cordon. Havenage quarantine. You arrive, frantic and anxious, at the cordon. Peak is nowhere to be seen. Then you hear footsteps hammering on the metal stairway. Helene's drone led you... Oh, sorry, totally misread that. Then you hear footsteps hammering on the metal stairway Helene's drone led you through before, the one that leads up to the observation deck. You leap up the stairs 2 at a time and make it to the top, momentarily blinded by the light pouring into the observation deck. Sleeper. Peak emerges from the light. I know she's trying to protect me, but... It's okay, she chose. What was she thinking? Yeah, I mean, I feel like we'd have had a better chance doing this as a team. I don't know why she did that. She's a bit tempestuous. She was always planning this. I know it. They turn away. How could I have not seen it coming? There she is. Peak rushes to the wide window, leaning forward to catch a glimpse of the Climbing Briar's blue XPR livery against the black of the void. You spot the Climbing Briar, a glint of blue and white, and beside it the red glare of a tug's lights. The tug crew went with her. Peak smiles. I knew they'd keep their word. Say that'll help. Peak doesn't seem to hear you, but the idea of the crew backing Eshe up makes you smile. Maybe this thing will work. You watch as the Briar and its tug escort arc down towards the edge of the cordon, demarcated by the red lights of the perimeter system. So far so good. The Briar will just look like another refugee ship being escorted into the cordon, at least at a glance. Except Helene knows about it, right? So yeah. Peak grips the rail as Eshe reaches the edge of the cordon, that invisible net of sensors splayed between ships and drones. Now let's hope the blind spot triggered. You think back to the mess of systems you had to wade through to set it up, the delicate contingencies you set up to trigger the sensor blackout just at the right moment. Without noise, without ceremony, the Briar slides through the cordon. You await the flickering of alarm lights, the swarming of drones, but nothing. Just another cycle, just another ship. Eshe is in. Both you and Peak let out the breath you've been holding. And laugh. How did she do it? Peak smiles, shaking their head. I did it. I did all the work. You guys did nothing. We did it. Peak smiles wider. Yes, we did. They laugh. You feel a little shaky from the tension, but Peak's ease helps you settle. You imagine Eshe, steely-eyed in the pilot seat of the Briar, searching for a place to dock. Maybe being stubborn has its advantages. I'm going to ask what now? Now she finds a place to dock and unload as quietly as possible. They look out at the flotilla, and then she gets the hell out of there. You and Peak turn back to the window, looking for the Briar again amongst all those hulls, the calm fading as new worries settle in. So I get the feeling that if we had failed any of those like sub-missions, then she would have been caught, and that would have kind of triggered another branch of the story. But in this case, we were okay. You spot the Briar first this time, docking with the largest of the flotilla's ships, a vast converted tanker, half of its protective plates removed. You think about the effort it must have taken to get that thing all the way here from the inner system. You watch the Briar, unable to get any sense of progress from its placid exterior. They'll be offloading everything now, Peak says, both assuring you and themselves that everything is going to plan. You think of all the supplies loaded into the Briar and how long the process of unloading them might take. The bay was packed, rammed with everything you could offer, and the thought of bringing all that to the flotilla makes you smile. Well, what about the bombs, though? You think of the reaction of the refugees, of the welcome they'll give Eshe as the bearer of such gifts. You even imagine a smile from Eshe as she is showered with thanks. You focus on that as you watch the Briar, and continue the nervous wait for it to finish unloading. "It's breaking off!" Peak points at the Briar, and you see the puff of air and dust that accompanies an emergency depressurization. Eshe must have ended things early, but why? Then you see them, the tugs closing in on the Briar. Havenage must have spotted the ship. You and Peak are up against the window again, willing the Briar a safe path out of the flotilla. Suddenly the Briar shifts in space, a blue blur between two hulls. Peak whistles. "Look at that!" They smile at you. "Looks like those upgrades we put together work." It's nice that it takes the time to kind of cover everything that you did. You watch as Eshe cuts through the crowded flotilla, the tugs not daring to follow her dangerous path, and peeling away. It is hard to keep track of the Briar, and suddenly both you and Peak are searching the black for a sign. Where has she gone? Then all of a sudden she's out, blue against the black, pulling away from the cordon on a wide arc back towards the station. A clean run. Peak cheers and smiles at you. "We did it! She's out!" They beam uncontrollably at you, the tension released. You find yourself smiling too, smiling at these two beautiful idiots and their beautiful ship. Then Peak is hugging you, squeezing you with all the nervous energy that had been building. "Thank you, Sleeper. We did this together." They step back, still smiling. "We did something." "Come on." They rush out of the observation deck. "Let's meet her." So did she get everything offloaded, I wonder, or not? So I've got 2 upgrade points. I need 3 to get a new upgrade, so that's cool. So I have no active drives at the moment. That's cool. So let's go meet Peak here. You and Peak rush into the Briar, finding yourselves in the now empty bay. The change is a reminder of what you achieved, and looking around, you feel all the more satisfied. A hiss sounds at the far end of the bay, and Eshe enters, looking exhausted. Peak runs up to embrace her, but she sits down on the bay floor before they reach her. "You did it!" They sit beside her. "Eshe, you were incredible!" She smiles a small smile at this, laying her head on Peak's shoulder. You suddenly feel like you're intruding, seeing the two of them like this, quiet and content. "Sleeper," Peak calls, "come on over." You cross the bay and sit beside them on the hard metal floor. "Eshe," Peak asks, "did you give the flotilla our chairs?" They both burst out laughing at the ridiculousness of it all, and at the exhaustion and the worry and everything else. You laugh too. It is impossible not to, and after a while you all come to a stop, Peak wiping their eyes and Eshe shaking her head, sorry. "You would have loved to see it, Sleeper," Eshe says quietly. "The welcome I got. They came to greet the ship once I docked, to offload the supplies. I told them I was coming, of course, as soon as I got inside the cordon, but there were so many, children, families, they were smiling at me, shaking my hand. Sol was there too, Peak, and he's just as gruff as he sounds over the comms." She smiles. "They took it all, crate after crate, until the ship was emptied out." Eshe looks away. "But there were so many, and even with everything we managed to bring, they needed more. They made me promise I'd try to come back." "Eshe," Peak shakes her head, "you know we can't do that twice." Eshe stands up. "What are we supposed to do? Wait for them to lift the quarantine?" She's angry again, that familiar tension rising in her voice. Peak tries to pull her back down. "Sit, Eshe. Rest. You've done enough for today." "Don't, Peak. I know my limits." Eshe hardens. "Okay, well, seeing as they didn't catch you, perhaps they'll lift it. They know the flotilla poses no danger now, and if they can account for the extra load on life support..." Eshe walks away toward the ladder that leads up into the upper part of the ship. "I need to rest, Peak." She holds up her hand. "Sleeper?" Then she limps up the ladder, step by painful step. "I'm afraid if you were expecting a change in Eshe's demeanour..." Peak smiles at you. "It's okay, let her rest." Peak nods. "I think I need some rest too." They put a hand on your shoulder and get up from the floor. "We couldn't have done this without you, Sleeper, and I know those in the flotilla would thank you too." I'm going to say go rest. Peak limps up the ladder too, leaving you alone on the metal floor of the bay. Your thoughts drift to all those people on the flotilla, sleeping and sitting on metal floors like this. Children, families, playing in cargo bays and repurposed fuel tanks. You know their story isn't over yet, and you look forward to meeting them. The quarantine will lift. You feel more sure of this fact every moment, even though you aren't sure why. You lie back on the metal and stare at the ceiling. What was it Feng told you? Erlin said. The eye opens for us all. Maybe the old guy was right. At home, a home for the lost. You like the idea of that. Maybe in time you can help make that a reality. But something is bothering you, a sliver of a thought like a splinter you can't extract. Why are thousands of refugees coming here now? People don't abandon their homes for nothing. What wave is rushing through the system, and when will it reach the eye? You shudder on the cold metal floor and get up. Something is coming, you can feel it. This isn't over. Okay, well is that the end of that episode then? The cordon. Episode Flux complete. The first part of the flotilla's story is complete. Episode Refuge begins when the cycle clock below is filled. Good luck. Okay, so what I'm going to do then, I'm going to spend the 2 cycles just kind of getting a load of stuff that I need going into the next episode, because I just have a feeling that I'm going to need all the help I can get. So let's grab some mushrooms, hope we can get some club caps. No, I didn't get any club caps. Okay. Let's plant some spores in there. Okay. And then go to the mushroom groves. Gonna re-roll this lot. Okay. Yeah, get a couple more grove spores. Yeah, I don't want to run out of stabilizer. Yeah, I need the club caps, so let's germinate the spores. And then I think I want to go and get some scrap so that I can keep my condition topped up. So let's go to the wastes. And we'll hope for the best here. Oh no, I got the oh no, that was the opposite outcome from what I wanted. No, I don't think I should risk that. Oh, that's a bit of a shame. Anything I can hack here? It looks like the hacking is done. So in that case, let's flip in sunbathe here. Get some energy, and then, well, losing that condition doesn't really matter because I would have been on 4 anyway. In fact, let's just go see what I could buy. I do have a fair bit of money. What exchange? Sell components? No, that's the opposite of what I want. I want to buy scrap. Scrap allowance. Okay, so this is good, right? So I can buy some scrap. And if I have to sell this ship mine to get like 150, I will. Let's use up the whole allowance here. Oh, I got a ship mine fragment. Oops. Where's my money? There it is. Alright, so I've got 3 ship mine fragments, so I'll keep them as fragments and then I'll fabricate a ship mine if I need one for the next bit. And then let's cook up some matsutakes. Cool, and then we'll use the scrap to boost our condition. Nice. And then I'll just sleep here. So we'll just end that cycle. And then see what we can do with this day's stuff to try and get some... Try and get ahead. So I'm going to go down to the wastes, I think. Try and get some more scrap. And then also I want to try and get club caps, but this is planted already, so there's nothing I can really do there. This just gives me girol caps, it doesn't give me anything particularly useful. So yeah, there's nothing I can really spend on that. So let's get as much scrap as we can. Kind of wishing I had the +2 on this one now. Cool, and I'm just going to re-roll these. Good. Now what I'm not going to do is risk the 3 there. I'm going to leave. I'm going to spend that just doing a sunbathe, just to give me a bit of energy. Nice, and then we will self-repair. Just use all of these so that I get... So I'm kind of fully loaded for the beginning of the next episode. And there we go. Right, exciting. Okay, so let's end cycle there. And then when we come back, we'll be ready to start the next one. Fantastic. Right, so let's leave there. Oh, okay. Oh, we've got another day to play with. Right, fine. This is good. So I can get some more scrap. I actually thought it was 2 days, not 3. So let's quickly grab some more scrap components. Trashed my energy levels. In fact... Is that going to ruin my condition? Because what I don't want to happen... Oh, it does when you start starving. Well, I guess I never learnt that at any point, so let's go back and eat. So that kind of... I kind of counteracted one of the scrap repairs there. Sometimes you don't learn these things to the very end of a game, and that's okay. Let's cook a matsutake. Oh no, let's cook a girol because I've got tons of them. Nice, and I think we'll just buy a meal from Memphis. Get the rest of that energy up. Let's go back to the scrapyard. It's negligible how much good I've done myself really by by doing this work, but it's fine. Right, so let's use this 4. So we risk becoming hungry again, but that's a risk I'm prepared to take, yeah. So we've got 4 scrap, which is good. Let's re-roll here. Got a 1. So I think I'll just sunbathe. Did I end up any better off for doing that? I don't know. But at least I haven't had to use a stabilizer. Let's self-repair. I think I've ended up with 1 more piece of scrap than I would have had. No, 2 more pieces of scrap than I would have had if everything had started on the last cycle. So let's end cycle. Okay, so we've got 5 dice. We're a bit hungry. The eye. It hits you like a wave, a white-edged breaker roaring inland with the force of the entire ocean. The impact is a screaming brightness, blanking out everything. Behind it is silence. You float in silence, suspended. No, you do not float. You are the silence. It has filled you up. It has emptied you out. You cease to exist. Uh-oh. Time passes, though you do not feel it passing. Then something flickers in the silence. Then something moves. That something is you. You open your eyes to a metal ceiling of flickering lights. You feel the floor around you, patting it with shaking hands. You assemble an image of yourself lying on your back in a corridor. You shake off the silence and sit up. What was that? You glance around, looking for a sign of some change, damage on the walls, shouts in the distance, fire and fear. Nothing has changed. The silence sits around you like a fog. You try to think, furrowing your brow. How do you think again? It doesn't seem so easy anymore. You force the pathways to light up, the databanks to grant access. You feel like a fraction drive starting up after a long shutdown in cold vacuum. In the wave, in the silence. Let's go with in the wave. In the wave was noise. Just as the sound produced by a wave raking across a pebble beach represents trillions of impacts heard as a single roar, so this sound was the result of trillions of electrons flickering in place, heard as a single impossible scream. A memory or image comes to you, one from the moments before the wave hit. You squint as you imagine it, trying to cohere its blurry form. A broken skeletal ring, the eye, and then a vast arc approaching it, a razor-edged white curve, the wave. The wave approaches the eye spins, turning each part to face that vast white edge. You recognise their skeletal data cloud forms, the bright market, the low end, the greenway, the wastes. Then the wave hits just as the flotilla, the cordon, turns to face it, and after that everything is silence. You open your eyes again. That is the epicentre. But of what? Okay, so that looks like that was actually the beginning of the next DLC, Refuge. So we're going to wrap the episode up there, and when we come back in, we'll take that one and see what it's got to offer us. We've got a full complement of dice, a reroll available. We've got almost full condition, and we're only one meal away from having a full tummy, so it should be. We're doing as well as we can to start off a DLC episode. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like on the episode. It's really helps the channel to grow, and it really helps me out. If you have any comments or questions, leave me a comment, and if you want to come over to Discord and say hi to a little community at Puck HQ, then you'll find the link to that in the episode description. As usual, wherever you are in the world, have a lovely morning or afternoon or evening, and I will see you next time. Goodbye for now.